All right, we're unmuted here. You guys can start up. Coach.
How you guys doing, first of all?
Jim.
Good. Awesome. Happy New Year.
Jim, I can't hear you. Can other people hear you? Nope. Let's go to whoever's second. Robert.
Coach, welcome to Illinois. Maybe just take me through this hiring process and when you heard the job was available, when you heard from Coach, how this all came about.
Funny enough, the hiring process probably happened 3 days ago or 2 days ago. Obviously, I played for Coach, and when he got the job, I congratulated him. And I guess before he got the job, actually, he used me as a reference. And I got a phone call from one of the assistant ADs and just raved about him and my experience with him as a player and how he was going to treat those kids and love on those kids and push those kids to the limits and allow them to be not only successful players, but a successful young man after they leave from there. And I did that. He got the job the next day. I'm sure he had a couple of different references from former players, but after that, I was just handling my business. And about two days ago, he offered me the job, and I gladly accepted, and we're here now. It happened really fast. It happened extremely fast.
Yeah. So I guess it's still kind of a whirlwind. Is it? What are your feelings being back in Big Ten country, being back in the Big Ten? Back in the, just south of Wisconsin. What are your thoughts on where you've ended up?
I am elated. I am thrilled. I am beyond excited. I'm genuinely so happy, man, just to be working back with Coach. We had obviously I played for him at Wisconsin and worked for him as a GA at Arkansas. And I know what kind of person he is. I know what kind of coach he is. I know the expectation level. I was a first team all conference player in this conference. So I know what it's like to have success in this conference. And so being able to breathe that into these young men, that's going to be like the cool part. That's going to be the cool part. And so I couldn't be more excited, man. I've been smiling for 2 days straight, literally. Been going to bed at around 1:30 every morning, waking up at about 5. I mean, it's been a good time, man. But I'm just ready to get to work with these young men, and obviously with college football and the portal and obviously staff turnover. I mean, I can see how these guys will be. I mean, they're coming back to a coach that didn't recruit them, and so I think it's our job just to kind of change their hearts a little bit and show them that it's gonna be real around here, man. We're gonna do some things different, and ultimately we're gonna get them ready to play ball and get them ready to play the game of life as well and play the right way.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me now, Coach?
Yes, sir. Jim Cotter?
Yes.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Good. I know Bret's been hiring, his staff in terms of, it's a common theme, players, former players, people that he's known. What do you think that brings as a positive to the staff, knowing, him knowing these, you guys beforehand?
Well, I think the most important thing is, when you recruit a kid as a coach, you sit in his home, you're around his family, you talk to him about the importance of being around family and the importance of his family and the dynamic in which he came from. And so like that particular kid that you're recruiting, obviously he's born and raised in a certain household, and all he knows is what he knows, but he knows family. He knows family's tight knit, family's close together, and there are some things that particular kid has went through in his life that has probably brought his family closer together. And so I think the theme around it was just family, like genuinely family. When I think that when you know people, you love people, you care about people, you play for them even harder, you work for them even harder. It's just like a relationship. It's like any old relationship, whether it's your wife, your fiance, your girlfriend, the more you spend time with that person, your faith, the more you spend time with that person, I think the deeper the level of connection becomes, and the greater it can be down the road. So I think the theme behind it was family, and for guys that he probably didn't know directly, he knew indirectly. He knew people that knew him. He thought they would be a great addition. Coach Walters is a prime example of that. I don't think Coach knew Coach Walters at all. He probably knew him through mutual friends and mutual parties. But I mean, that dude is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, in my 2 days with him, we've hit it off. I got a baby brother, a 14-year-old baby brother, and I got 9 sisters. But I feel like Ryan was that missing piece in our family, man. So I'm really excited to be working with him.
Okay, one more quick one. I know playing at Wisconsin, you obviously familiar with the Illinois program and know that it hasn't had this level of success that people desire down here. What do you guys think, as collectively as a coaching staff, that you guys can bring in players that will elevate that level of success to what you want?
Well, the last time we played Illinois, when I was here, we actually won. But the time before that, I remember a young man by the name of Aurelius Ben, Juice Williams, Rashad Mendenhall is still running. I mean, he had like 250, 300 yards one game. But it's a player's game. And I think as coaches, I think sometimes we get high and mighty and we forget that. I think scheme is a part of it, but it is truly a player's game. And so just finding out or finding the right players that fit this program, smart, tough, dependable kids who love ball, kids who are extremely tough. I think that's going to be the centerpiece of how we're going to build this thing, because we're going to push them physically and mentally, and the strongest going to survive. And ultimately, that's going to be what makes up our football team to put us in those close games and those hard-fought, cold Big Ten games.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey, Aaron, Jeremy Warner from 24/7 Sports. Welcome to Champaign. Nice to meet you, at least virtually. Take me back to when you were a recruit and what sold you on the young, I think he was 34 years old, Bret Bielema. How did his recruiting pitch land with you, and why'd you want to play for him?
It's funny you say that. Coach probably got a million stories for you recruiting, but no, I just believe that he was himself. I was raised with my grandmother. Grandfather was in the household, but he was gone most of the day because he was like working. My mom was kind of out running around, running the streets. My father was in prison at the time. And I was a really, really big stickler on, my main priority and my grandma's main priority was making sure that she had somebody to take care of her grandbaby. And my thing was just trust. I was a firm believer in, and my grandfather taught me this: if somebody give you their word, make sure that they stick to it and they abide by it. And so when I first met Coach, I met a whole bunch of coaches. And when I first met Coach, I think what separated him from everybody else is originally when we first had our first conversation, he didn't talk about football at all. He wanted to know what kind of person I was. He wanted to know the things that I liked. He wanted to know a famous question, that he asked every player. Aaron Henry, where did you get your name from? Obviously famous baseball player, Henry Aaron. He wanted to know those very personal things. And that was something that a lot of coaches didn't do. They were, like, how long have you been playing football? Everything was geared towards football, but with Coach, it was the complete opposite. How long have you been staying with grandma? He knew all of my sisters' names. It was just a lot different. I felt like I wasn't being recruited to come play football for him. I felt like he was genuinely trying to find out who I was as a young man, and he wanted to help me more so off the field than on the field. And so I think that's what kind of separated him from everybody else, all the other 47 schools that were recruiting me. And for me, a young kid from a poverty-stricken neighborhood in South Florida, a little town called Immokalee, it was something that I truly bought into.
Yeah, and now that you've played for him, had success for him, and obviously you still believe in him because you're going to coach for him again, how does that help you on the recruiting trail, that you have that experience with him? Like, what's your pitch to kids to play for Bielema?
Well, I can genuinely tell them I'm a direct reflection of what it's like to play for honorable, credible, smart, and somebody that's going to genuinely help you to have success once football is over. You know, Coach B sat in my grandmother's living room, and my grandmother passed in 2016. He sat in her living room and he said, "I'm going to take care of your grandson, whether he makes it to the NFL or not." He told her that. And when she passed in 2016, not only did he call me, he sent flowers to the funeral, you know, and I think today he's still keeping that promise, you know. And so for every young man out there who is thinking about playing for a specific or particular coach, you know, everybody's going to have jargon that they can use to sell you on a university, sell you on a recruiting pitch, all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, it truly boils down to the people in the building. You know, this facility is absolutely incredible, but I can tell you this: Bret Bielema is the real deal, and I am a living testimony of that. You know, I'm genuinely so thankful for this dude, man. He was the reason why I got into coaching. I can remember as a player, he asked me had I ever thought about coaching my junior year, and I looked at him with a smile on my face and said, "Hell no, I would never coach, ever." And lo and behold, I'm here now. You know, and so for every young man out there that's being recruited by anybody, you know, I can tell you this: Coach B is absolutely phenomenal. He's a man of his word, and he's gonna help impact and change these young men's lives. And I'm just excited to be a part of it.
Thanks so much, Aaron. Welcome, man.
Thank you, brother. Don't be shy.
All right, Aaron, I guess I'll jump in. Joey Wagner from 24/7 Sports. You talk so much, obviously, about how Bret recruited you, but what was it like playing for him? How did he shape and convince you after the hell no, you didn't want to be a coach, to be a coach?
Playing for him, he was very what's the word I can use? He was a very straightforward and honest human being. Like, he didn't beat around the bush about nothing. And so every day you walked in the building as a player, you knew what you were going to get, you know, and that was something that I could appreciate. Was he tough? Hell yeah, he was tough. He was absolutely tough. But I think that's why we won a bunch of games, and that's the kind of brand of football I grew up around. But he got me to become a coach, actually. Funny story. All right, so after I got cut from the Oakland Raiders, I actually went back to Immokalee, and then I moved to Kalamazoo, Michigan with one of my best friends, and I started teaching there. I was teaching at a middle school, Gold Lake Middle School, during the day, and in the afternoon I was working actually as a football coach at Gold Lake High School in Michigan, right outside of Kalamazoo. And I called Dave Dorn, who's the head coach at NC State, you know, and he actually offered me a job to be the team chaplain at NC State. And so at the end of the football season at Gold Lake, as a high school coach, I was headed to to NC State to be the team chaplain. Well, I told Coach B, actually, the coordinator who was at Arkansas at the time, named Chris Ash, you know, I called Coach Ash and I told him, you know, I'm thinking about getting this profession, but I got a job offer to go be a team chaplain at NC State. And Chris calls me and he hits up, he let Coach B knows that what's taking place. And Coach invites me to a football camp down in Arkansas. He was a head coach, just became the head coach at Arkansas at the time. And so as a former player, I was just going up there to visit him, hang out with him, work the camp a little bit. It was a 3-day full pad camp. He had about 300 players there at the time. And he offered 15 of them. The 15 players he offered, they were from all over the country. A lot of them were from the South. 15 players he offered, I had a chance to speak to 9 of them one-on-one. And so in our conversation, speaking to them and speaking to their parents, just sharing my personal experience as a player, sharing my time with him at our former institution, and how great he was to me, and how he kind of helped shape and mold my life. The 9 parents and kids that I spoke to went in his office and they committed to him. Well, when they committed to him at the University of Arkansas at the time, every parent asked, because at the time I had long hair, I had long dreads, every parent asked who I was. They thought I was already on the staff. I was actually in town visiting. And he was like, that's actually one of my former players. He's actually in town visiting, you know, but he just came here to see me, and they all spoke highly of me. So as I'm getting ready to leave, I go and see Coach. He obviously cuts me a check for working the camp, which I had no idea what was expecting. I was just coming out here to help. He looks at me, he gives me a huge hug, and he starts to shed a tear. You know, he's crying a little bit, you know, voice kind of rattling. He was like, I want you to stay. I'm like, huh? He was like, I want you to stay. Now I had only brought a briefcase up there with a couple of clothes in it. He's like, I want you to stay. I was like, Coach, I actually got a job offer to go be a team chaplain at NC State. He was like, I think you can make even so much more of a greater impact being a coach and also spreading the gospel. You can do both of them. He was like, I tell you what, all right, I'm gonna put you in a hotel in Fayetteville, Arkansas for 10 days. All right, 10 days. See the city, walk around, hang out. All right, and let me know at the end of the 10 days, could you see yourself living here? I said, yes, sir. So I postponed going down to NC State. I got to day 3. I go and see him, and I told him I wanted to stay. Now, he didn't have a job for me. And I was fine with that. Actually, I lived with him for about a month and a half, 2 months. The first job, he didn't have a job in football for me, but he got me a job as a landscaper. I was a landscaper in Northwest Arkansas. Me and 5 of my Mexican buddies who didn't speak no English. All right, I spoke a little bit of Spanish, being from Immokalee, Florida. Every morning we got up and we met at this shed that had all the landscaping tools. And we drove all throughout Northwest Arkansas, hedging bushes, specific apartment complexes. We were hedging bushes, cutting grass. I was running the snakes. Well, it didn't take me to all but about 3 weeks to realize that I had a college degree, you know, and I could be in the AC. So I actually decided to be a substitute teacher at Harbor High School, and signed up to be a substitute teacher. Was a substitute teacher there about 2 or 3 months, and then a position opened in Arkansas academics, where I had a chance to be an academic advisor until the football season opened up. And once the football season opened up, Coach hired me to be a full-time GA for him. So it's a really cool story, man. My journey was kind of a little different, you know, but I'm very appreciative of it, and that was kind of a little taste of why I got into coaching.
And that all stems really, I mean, to take the leap and stay in a hotel in Arkansas, that all really stems back to the relationship and the trust that you had with Coach Bielema. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Now, the hotel was really nice. Don't get that twisted. The hotel was really, really nice. It was a beautiful hotel in downtown Fayetteville, I'm sorry. But he just wanted me to just kind of hang out, see if I had a vibe for the place. You know, I'm a country boy. It was right up my alley. And but you're right, it did stem from the relationship that we had. And I think he kind of knew what he was doing. I don't know, he has this really, really unique way of making people think about things that they normally wouldn't think about. It. Like I said, it didn't take me long to realize that, you know, I think that they have some going here. It's a guy that I trust, and I think I'm gonna take a leap of faith and get into this coaching profession.
Thanks, Aaron. Nice to meet you, man.
Thank you, brother.
I'll jump in. Hi, Aaron. Colin Likas from the News Gazette in Champaign. Welcome to town. Oh, Greg, sorry, am I jumping over you?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
Thank you, Colin. Appreciate it. Coach, I actually worked in Fort Myers the year that you won the state title in 2004. So
yes, sir. That's right. That is right. How you doing, Greg?
I'm doing well, thank you. 3 things. This all happened so quickly that you probably haven't had a chance to yet, but have you been reaching out to any of the guys who still have to make decisions about whether they're going to play another year, like a Tony Adams?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Been reaching out to them a lot. Hit all those guys up, and I think for the most part, all the guys that I had a chance to speak to will be returning. But at least that's from the conversation that I gathered, man. But bunch of great kids, man, and just gotta, you know, I'm a big lover, you know, obviously being in the academic space for a short while and growing up in a household. My grandmother was actually a teacher for over 30 years, you know, and she's very tremendous in her faith, you know. She always used to tell me that change is good, you know, and I know sometimes to these young men, you know, change can be very, very frustrating, but I'm just really excited to just continue to build relationships with these young men.
I'm curious if you've had a chance to kind of find out what areas you're going to be recruiting specifically.
That is a great question. I know I have obviously a piece of Illinois. I'm sure I'll probably be somewhere in Florida, but we hadn't really. We're kind of doing it as a whole unit right now. It's a bunch of really good players out there, so we're all just recruiting together until coach decides to divvy it up and put us in our specific areas. But I really can't speak to it because I really don't know.
And lastly, this staff now has two guys who have worked with Coach Drinkwitz from Missouri in different capacities in the past. I know you coach on the different side of the ball than he did when you were at North Carolina State. But if you can, what can you speak of him as a recruiter? And what have you made of his approach as he's become a head coach in a Power Five?
First of all, I absolutely love Eli Drinkwitz. Obviously my appreciation for him as a high school football coach, because I had a chance to coach at Harbor High School. And he wasn't at Springdale at the time, but he was a high school coach in the great state of Arkansas. I think Drink is a very bright-minded, up and coming, awesome football coach. My first day at NC State, me and Drink actually, we were on the road together. We were going down to Greenville, North Carolina, to help him recruit a quarterback. My first day on the job, we just had a chance to chop it up and just to see his kind of career kind of take off. The dude is so awesome, man. I'm really excited for him. Really smart football coach, and obviously he has a really good office, has a really good team. So I'm really looking forward from afar to kind of see his success because I know where he's come from.
Great, Coach. Thanks so much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Greg.
All right. Sorry about that, Aaron. Colin Likas, News Gazette. Good to meet you and welcome to Champaign. Sticking on the recruiting side of things briefly, you've made a few stops here in your college coaching career so far. You talked about how you can kind of sell Bret Bielema's vision, but just what are some of the big things you've learned about just recruiting in general from all of these stops, all these Power 5 stops that you've made so far in your coaching career?
At the end of the day, boys, at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. Get it. Facility's beautiful. Some weight rooms are bigger than others, but it's genuinely, and you got to be real with them. Kids want you to be real, but it's about relationships. Who can create the best relationship the fastest and make sure it's also the strongest. It's about relationships. Do kids want to play on Sunday? All right, you obviously got to be able to sell to them that they can play in the NFL and that they want to play on Sunday. But some of the better guys that I've recruited, some of the better guys that went on to play in the NFL, it was strictly, all right, especially over the time that I was recruiting them, when all those other schools started to come in, it boiled down to your relationship with them. All right, and making sure that mama, making sure that daddy, making sure that their family was comfortable with you, dropping them off there, for the next 4 years, right? Because these young men, right, the average human makes over 30,000 decisions in a day, right? And these young men, they're making decisions every single second, right? And so you as a coach, all right, putting them in those positions to make the right decision, because all it takes is one wrong one, right? And convincing their parents that you're going to help them make the right decision. I think that's what it really boils down to.
And then building off something Greg asked regarding the defensive backs, I'm sure you still have some film to watch, but what do you know about some of the guys who are coming back or who could be coming back? And what are you most looking forward to about working with this group in particular?
Well, I haven't had a chance to watch a ton of film outside of them. I did watch the Wisconsin game last year, but I know they have some talent back there, man. And I'm really, really excited to kind of get my hands on it. To just be around them. I was telling TA Tony Adams the other day, I've seen really great players one year go to like average players the next year because of confidence. And then I've seen really average players go to like exceptional players because of confidence. And it's my job as a coach to instill confidence in these dudes every single play, right? Like, the offense, they're lucky enough, they don't get the third down conversion, they get the punt. Defense, it don't work that way, because offense converts, longer drive, chance to score. And so just instilling confidence in them, and obviously it's going to take practice. It's going to take putting them in really, really challenging situations to see how they respond. It's going to take making sure that we compete every single day, but instilling confidence in them. So when they are faced with that adversity and they have to make a decision, whether it's coming out of a break, making sure their eyes are on their target at the top of the route, just those small things, the details of where the receiver lines up at. It's my job to make sure that they're confident enough to go out there and execute their job to the fullest. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing outside of their ability, because I haven't had a chance to see all of them individually. I just know I do have guys with some ability in that room.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, Colin.
Yeah, Coach, I got a follow-up question just on the positional things. I know Coach Walters, who's the defensive coordinator, has defensive backfield experience, and that's where his focus is. Are you going to be coaching both corners and safeties? Will it be split up? Has that been discussed on how you'll do that?
Yes, sir. So Coach Walters will primarily handle the safeties, and I'll primarily handle the corners.
And you're comfortable in that? Cornerback, it's a lot of your experience.
Oh yeah, brother. Just as comfortable as I am at a dinner table, man. I like to eat too.
Okay, so tell me why you're that comfortable.
Why am I that comfortable coaching that position?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Being a South Florida guy, we kind of I can remember my father telling me a couple of years ago. He said before I was able to walk forward, I was walking backwards. And so I'm like just naturally, man, I've always been a corner. Obviously at Wisconsin I was a corner, grew into a safety, but just anywhere on the back end I feel really comfortable with. But corner is just some added flavor to just that position, man. Just think about it. For 60 minutes, you get the line across the field from a guy and just like dare them to throw the football. Now, some people like to run away from that kind of stuff, but me, man, obviously South Florida is home of Deion Sanders, man, the greatest defensive back in my opinion to ever play the game, and so that's how I approach things, man. So I take it as a challenge. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to kind of get my hands and teeth into these young men and just put them in a position to be uncomfortable so that they can have success down the road.
See, now you got me curious, because a former defensive coordinator who was at Illinois 10 years ago, Vic Koenig, used to say he recruited cornerbacks from the Everglades area. Like he had like 3 cornerbacks from Belglade, I think it was, or something like that. Yep. So what is it about that area and cornerbacks?
So I can tell you this. So Immokalee obviously is we're probably about 30, 40 minutes from we're in that Glades area. But that's what everybody's been trying to figure out. So when I was younger, we used to grow up chasing rabbits, right? I'm sure you guys heard about the story. Chasing rabbits in sugarcane fields. But I don't know, man. We just kind of did it as something that was fun and exciting. Didn't think much of it, It was also a source of great protein. We actually, for my people who don't eat meat, we actually used to eat the rabbits or whatnot. But kids down there, they just wired different, and I think it's football year round. I think that's also part of it, but I don't know. I think the good Lord was probably just sprinkled a little more talent down there when he was creating this world. But I'm still trying to figure that out, to be completely honest with you. It's just a lot of good defensive backs a lot of good football players in general have come from that area.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Aaron, just building off that, I imagine Florida, you got a lot of good relationships. Where else have you built good relationships recruiting wise, and where do you expect to recruit for Illinois?
Well, I haven't been in Illinois yet, obviously. I know I have a piece of the state. I've been in North Carolina. I've been in South Carolina. Obviously, being at NC State, I recruited North and South Carolina, particularly the Greensboro, Winston-Salem area. When I was at Rutgers, I recruited South Jersey really, really heavy. Got some really good players out of there. We also recruited Florida, obviously. And when I was at Arkansas, it was kind of go out and find the best players. Dabbled in Louisiana a little bit. And then being at Vanderbilt, it was strictly based off of a lot of it was based off academics. So just finding the best available guys that fit your program and that can get into school academically. And so sometimes that'll take you to Alabama. Sometimes it'll take you to East Tennessee. Sometimes it'll take you to Chicago, Illinois. So it just all depends. I can tell you this. I'm a sponge. I have a very I like to think I got a very bright personality. And the good Lord is given me the ability just to relate to kind of anybody I come in contact with. So I told Coach, you can drop me off in Africa, man, and I'm gonna make sure I come back with some players.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you, brother.
Hey, Aaron, I had a quick follow-up. This happened, you said, really quickly within the last few days to get this job. Was it one of those where it was like, if Bret Bielema is ever back in the game and he calls me to be on his staff, I'm going to go? I mean, why was this such an easy jump for you?
I mean, think of it this way, right? I mean, the dude's like a father figure to me, you know, and it's like your dad going back home to do something that he loves. All right, you obviously love him and care about him. And with a smile on his face, all right, he actually want to come join. And laughing, you say, hell yeah. And so that's pretty much what it boiled down to, man. I mean, I always had it in the back of my mind, you know, if Coach got back into it, I would love to be a part of it. Just because you know what you're getting. Like I know what I'm getting. I know the kind of guy I'm working for, you know. And so that's the other piece to it, you know. Like a lot of times guys go into situations where they don't know the particular guy that they're working for. Or they haven't worked for him, you know. You're up at the facility with a guy all day, so you don't know what you're going to get. I know what I'm getting, and so because I know what I'm getting, I'm like thrilled about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think that's it. Anybody else got one? You guys good?
Thanks, Aaron.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Thanks.
Have a good one.